Have you ever watched someone try to destroy everything you've worked for while smiling right to your face? Because that's exactly what happened to me the morning I found out my colleague Ethan Hale had just told our boss, the one deciding my promotion, that I was incompetent, careless, and responsible for a mistake I didn't even make. And the craziest part? I heard every word of it through the thin office walls. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Now, imagine this. You've spent 3 years grinding, taking extra shifts, fixing other people's errors, and finally, you're up for the role you've dreamed of. And then someone you've helped, someone you've covered for, someone you've trusted, turns around and stabs you in the back with a rehearsed performance worthy of an award. But here's where it gets interesting. Because instead of storming into the office, instead of crying, instead of defending myself, I walked back to my desk and smiled. A calm, small, unsettling smile. Why? What did I know that Ethan didn't? Why would someone being framed for a mistake simply sit down, open a folder, and smile? Let's just say Ethan wasn't the only one with a plan. And what happened next stunned the entire office. Have you ever watched someone lie so smoothly, so confidently, that for a split second you wonder if you're the one who misremembered reality? That's exactly what hit me as I sat at my desk, replaying Ethan's voice in my head. The way he spoke to our boss, Mr. Langford, you'd think he was auditioning for a courtroom drama. His tone was calm. His words were rehearsed. And every sentence was designed to make me look like the office disaster of the year. But here's the real twist. While Ethan believed he'd just delivered the performance of his life, he had no idea I'd been listening from the hallway. No idea I heard him claim I submitted the wrong data. No idea he blamed me for a client misunderstanding he caused. No idea he painted himself as the heroic team player forced to clean up after me. And honestly, for a moment, it stung. How could someone I'd helped, someone I'd stayed late for, someone I'd covered for weaponize my kindness like that? But then something strange happened. The shock didn't last. The hurt didn't last. Instead, there was this calm. A steady, cold clarity. And as I opened the folder on my desk labeled Contingency Plan, I realized something I'm not sure Ethan ever expected. He just declared war on the wrong person. Because there was one thing, one crucial detail, he absolutely didn't know. And it was about to change everything. What if I told you that the person trying to sabotage your career had no clue? That you'd been quietly collecting receipts on them for months? Because that's exactly where my calm came from. Ethan thought he was 10 steps ahead. In reality, he was already checkmated. I opened my contingency plan folder, and there it all was. Screenshots of him deleting lines from our shared reports. Email timestamps proving which files I uploaded, long before he claimed I didn't. Activity logs from our project management software showing every revision he tried to hide. Every small mistake he pinned on me? Documented. Every time he took credit for my work? Documented. Every questionable edit he made after hours? Documented. But here's the part even I didn't expect. As I was organizing everything, printing, highlighting, laying out the timeline, a soft voice spoke from behind me. Is that about Ethan? I turned to see Sophie Rivera, one of the quietest, kindest people in the office. And the expression on her face said everything before she even opened her mouth. He tried the same thing with me last year, she whispered. But I didn't have proof. Suddenly, it wasn't just my battle. It wasn't just my career on the line. Ethan had a pattern, one he thought he'd buried well. But patterns have a way of coming back to haunt people, especially when there's more than one witness. Still, neither Sophie nor I were prepared for what would happen when we walked into Mr. Langford's office. And trust me, what happened next was bigger than either of us imagined. Have you ever walked into a room expecting a simple conversation, only to realize you just stepped into a live grenade? Because that's exactly what it felt like when Sophie and I pushed open Mr. Langford's office door. I thought we were going in to quietly present our evidence. I thought Ethan would already be gone. I thought this would be a clean, private correction. But no, Ethan was still there. Arms crossed. Smug smile plastered across his face. Like he'd already framed the final picture of my downfall. Mr. Langford cleared his throat. Maya, Ethan says you mishandled the data. I'd like you to explain. Explain? Explain what? Why my coworker was a full-time con artist. Instead, I simply stepped forward and placed a neatly organized packet on the desk. No speeches. No arguments. Just cold, hard evidence. Ethan chuckled under his breath. But then he saw the first page. And the color drained from his face. Screenshots. Timestamps. Audit logs. His fingerprints were everywhere. Mr. Langford flipped through the pages slowly, too slowly. Every turn of a page felt like a countdown. His expression shifted from confusion, to realization, to shock, to anger. Then Sophie stepped in and calmly shared her own story, how Ethan had sabotaged her last year. That was the moment the entire tone of the room changed. Because now it wasn't just evidence. It was a pattern. Still, none of us, not even me, expected what came next. And what Mr. Langford said afterward. That changed everything. Have you ever seen someone's confidence collapse in real time? Not gradually. Not subtly. But instantly, like a chandelier dropping from the ceiling the moment the final screw snaps? That's what it looked like on Ethan's face when Mr. Langford finally set the packet down. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. He didn't even look at Ethan at first. He just exhaled. Slowly. Heavily. The kind of exhale that says, I knew something was wrong, and now I finally have the proof. Then he tapped his tablet, opened the company's performance dashboard, and said the last thing any of us expected. Maya, I've been monitoring some inconsistencies in Ethan's reports for a while. Wait, what? So, he already suspected something? Apparently yes. He'd noticed deadlines that didn't line up, timestamps that backfired, and heroic last-minute saves that didn't match actual workflow patterns. Ethan's entire facade had been wobbling long before today, and now it shattered. Mr. Langford turned to Ethan. You manipulated data. You misled your team. And you tried to sabotage one of my strongest analysts. Ethan started rambling, deflecting, accusing, even trying to pin Sophie's experience on a miscommunication. Every excuse dug him deeper. Then Mr. Langford delivered the blow. You are being removed from the promotion shortlist effective immediately. And HR will want to speak with you. Silence. Cold. Heavy. He told Ethan to gather his belongings and wait outside. And as Ethan slowly packed his desk, hands shaking, he turned to me with eyes full of rage and whispered something I never saw coming. You planned this. You trapped me. That's what Ethan whispered, his voice tight, almost trembling, as he clutched his half-empty box of desk junk like it was the last piece of his career. And for a moment, I just stared at him. Because the truth was almost ironic. I didn't trap him. He trapped himself. All I did was keep the receipts. And as he walked out of the office, every coworker's eyes followed him. Shocked. Confused. Some even relieved. It was like everyone suddenly saw who he really was. Someone who built success on stealing other people's work and burying the evidence. But here's the part one kept circling back to. That moment earlier in the day, when I heard him lying, when I walked back to my desk, when I smiled. Now it made perfect sense. That smile wasn't revenge. It wasn't victory. It was clarity. I already knew the truth would catch up to him. I just didn't think it would happen this fast, or this publicly. By the end of the week, I was sitting in a leadership track interview. Confident. Calm. No more snakes in my shadow. So let me ask you, has anyone ever tried to sabotage you? If so, remember this story. Stay ready. Stay smart. And let the truth do the heavy lifting. If you want more stories like this, hit subscribe and share your own office plot twist in the comments.